It is indeed a pleasant morning, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this session on effective communication techniques organized by the Department of English, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology. The resource person for today's session is Dr. K. Rathnasabapathi sir, retired associate professor and head Department of English at PSG College of Arts and Science. I'm glad to welcome you, sir. Speaking about sir, he is the director of Anglophonics Institute of English, which is nothing but a culmination of his 31 years of rich academic experience. He has held various positions like co-opted member for the Syllabus Restructuring Committee and for the Editorial Committee for Foundation Course in Bharatiyar University, and has also been the member of Board of Studies in Bharatiyar University, SRMV College of Arts and Science. Excuse me. Sri Krishna College of Arts and Science and VLB College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. As a teacher of English, he has produced 3,000 pages of material of international standard to cater to the spoken and written English, entrance exams, IELTS, TOEFL needs of students around the globe. He has also delivered more than 500 special lectures and has conducted more than 30 workshops and faculty development programs. He has more than 30 MPhil students working under him, and currently 8 PhD scholars are pursuing their research under his guidance in English language teaching. Having him with us is our pride, and not taking much of your time, I request our guest, Dr. Rathnasabapathi sir, to take over this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, good morning to everybody. The protocol demands that I stand on some formalities. I have never been a man of formalities because all the formalities, they are simply antitheses of realities. So without standing on any formalities, I would like to begin my session. The term communication skills is vaguer than vagueness could be. The term communication skills is on the lips of everybody, right from the University Vice Chancellor in Safari down to all the teachers of English. Everybody urges the students from all the disciplines to develop their communication skills. But what goes into the constitution of one's communication skills? Is our approach to learning English correct? If the approach is wrong, then the result also will be wrong. I would like to begin the session with a small anecdote. You know, safety vault breakers. You get safety vault installed in all the banks, and you get safety vault breakers also. And there used to live a safety vault breaker. He was extremely good at breaking any lock, opening any lock. And he was able to open any lock with lot of ease. Without any difficulty, with lot of ease, he was able to open any number of locks. And this went on for a long time. As a result, he became accomplished in breaking any kind of lock. And one day he thought, why can't I do some gambling with my capacity? I will challenge the whole mankind. Let them show me any safety vault or any lock. I'm ready to open. I'm ready to bet on this skill. And he started this gambling, and he minted money like anything. He made a huge amount of money. Once he was taken to a safety vault, and the betting amount was 5 lakhs, and he was able to open the safety locker without any problem. And he gained 5 lakhs. In this process, you know, he gained a lot of money, and his pride also started increasing. He became egoistic. One day he made a wild challenge to the whole mankind. I am ready to bet an amount of 1 crore. You just show me the lock. If I am able to open the lock, 1 crore is mine. Otherwise, I will give you 1 crore. And over a college student, he accepted the challenge. He invited him to his house. For here is a bedroom. You just enter the bedroom. I will lock the door outside. You just enter the room and open the room from inside. And if you are able to open the room from inside, I will give you 1 crore. And if you are not able to open the room from inside, you have to give me 1 crore. That is the context of the bet. And this safety vault breaker, he just took a look at the lock installed in the door. I can just open it by looking at it. And this fellow is going to lose 1 crore solitaire. He entered the room. The door was locked outside. The college student closed the door outside. And he tried to open the door from inside the room. He tried, he made all desperate tries. Even after 24 hours, he was not able to open the lock. And he felt disappointed. In my lifetime, this is going to be the biggest disappointment because it's an ordinary lock, but I'm not able to open it. And he wanted a drink of water. Currently, he surrendered to the man. I accept my defeat. You have defeated me. I accept my defeat. Please open the door. I want to have a drink of water now. Adhukku and the college students sonna, you stupid fellow, you have never locked it. You are trying to open a lock which is not locked. You are trying to open the door which is not locked. Appo, the approach is basically wrong. Tattungal thirakapadum. Eppa tattanum, kadavu saathirna tattanum. The door is wide open and there is no need for you to knock on the door. Appo, tattungal thirakapadum, if the door is locked, tattungal nartham. It's a futile exercise. In the process of developing our communication skills, we fall a prey to a lot of wrong approaches. Let us come out of the wrong approaches first, and then I will take you to the right kind of approach. Now, what do I mean by the wrong approach? By wrong approach, I mean what goes into the real constitution of a man's communication skills. Who is really communicative? Who is able to communicate his thoughts without any difficulty, with a lot of freedom and with a lot of fluency? Who is good at communication skills and who is not good at communication skills? What goes into the making or the constitution of the communication skills of anybody in Pathina? Three aspects they go into the making of a man's communicative competence in any language. We have to develop our communicative competence in English because English is the only window on the world. If we want to take a look at the whole world, there is only one window wide open, that is the window of English. If we were to take a look at Tamilnadu through the window of Tamil, only part of Tamilnadu could be visible. You would be able to see only part of Tamilnadu. The earth has become a small global village. Now, there is no point in speaking our own mother tongue. Of course, there is no denial that our mother tongue is important. But for a career, you have to develop your communication skills in English because the geographical distance of the earth is collapsed. You can travel from any part of the world to any other part of the world, of course, in no time. The students of English and students of engineering, you have to develop your communication skills because it is the right time. You have no time. You are on the verge of completing your course and you have to attend a lot of interviews. It is time you learned what goes into the making of a man's communication skills. Three aspects they go into the making of a man's communication skills. One, grammatical competence. I use the word with a lot of caution. I never use the word grammar. I have used the word grammatical competence. What is the difference between grammar and grammatical competence? Grammar is nothing but knowledge of how a language works. Grammar is nothing but a body of knowledge telling about how a particular language works. Grammatical competence means speaking that language, using that language. If you want me to speak analogically, I can say, you ask somebody, do you know swimming? He says, I know swimming. You ask somebody else, do you know how to swim? And the second man says, I know how to swim. Who do you think will be able to save you when you are drowned in water? The first man who says, I know swimming, he has only knowledge of swimming. He doesn't know how to swim. But the second man who says, I know how to swim, he knows the art, the mechanics of swimming, and he will be able to save you from being drowned. Don't develop your knowledge of grammar, develop grammatical competence. Instead of developing grammar, you have to develop grammatical competence. What is the difference between grammar and grammatical competence? Your ability to identify a particular sentence as if clause constitutes only your knowledge. If I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. Abdin sentence to identify the sentence. This sentence comes under the category of if clause. You have only knowledge of grammar. If I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா அவன் சொல்லுவான், I have grammatical competency in this construction. I have grammatical competency in this construction. Then what is the grammatical competency in that construction? If you ask the second person to dilate upon the so-called if class, if I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. If I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. Supposing that I go to Chennai, I will visit the beach. Suppose I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. In the context of my going to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. In case I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. Now, I am talking about the group one of the so-called if class. If I work hard, I will pass the exam. Supposing that I work hard, I will pass the exam. Suppose I work hard, I will pass the exam. In the event of my working hard, I will pass the exam. In case of my working hard, I will pass the exam. அப்போ question எப்படி கேட்குனா, can you pass the exam? அதுக்கு அவன் சொல்லணும், I don't know whether I will work hard. I don't know whether I will work hard. If I work hard, I will pass the exam. Supposing that I work hard, I will pass the exam. Suppose I work hard, I will pass the exam. In the event of my working hard, I will pass the exam. In the context of my working hard, I will pass the exam. இது சாதாரண if class ஓட ஒரு group. Now I talk about the second group of the same open conditional class, the so-called if class. Will you pass the exam? I don't know whether I work hard. Unless I work hard, I will not pass the exam. As long as I work hard, I will pass the exam. So long as I don't work hard, I will not pass the exam. Appo, and the second man who says that I have grammatical competency in this construction, avun solran, now we have the second group of if class. Will you pass the exam? I don't know whether I will work hard. Unless I work hard, I will not pass the exam. As long as I work hard, I will pass the exam. So long as I don't work hard, I will not pass the exam. இன்னொரு third group of if class போலாம். Will he get a job? இப்ப சார்லின்னு இருக்க நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட். Will he get a job? நான் சொல்றேன், I don't know whether he is qualified. If he is qualified, he will get the job. I don't know whether he is eligible. If he is eligible, he will get the job. I don't know whether he is experienced. He will get the job. அப்போ this is the third group of the so-called if class. இன்னொரு fourth group. Will you play football tomorrow? Will you play football tomorrow? அதுக்கு அவன் சொல்றான், today it is raining. Today it is raining. Weather permitting, I will play football. Today it is raining, now it is raining. Weather permitting, I will play football. அப்போ weather permitting, I will play football. It is also one of the if classes. அப்போ அந்த முதல் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் கேட்டீங்களே, do you have knowledge of grammar? He can identify only the if class. He can do only the identification part of it. That if I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. It comes under a particular if class. But he doesn't know how to generate more number of sentences using the same if class. Will he play football tomorrow? Now I am suffering from fever. Health permitting, I will play football tomorrow. Now I am suffering from fever. Health permitting, I will play football tomorrow. I am suffering from a running nose. I am indisposed with a cold. I am suffering from fever. Health permitting, I will play football tomorrow. Will he play football tomorrow? Now the sky is overcast with cloud. It is likely to rain. But weather permitting, I will play football. Second person, a person who is already suffering from fever, will he play football tomorrow? Health permitting, I will play football. Now the last group of if class. Now the last group of the so-called open condition class. In the open condition class, sentence constructions. Now the last construction. Will you become an IAS officer? It is not easy for anybody to become an IAS officer. God willing, I will become an IAS officer. God willing, I will become an IAS officer. Will you become the president of America? Next time, Trump கிட்ட சொல்லுங்க. அவன் சொல்றான், God willing. God willing, I will become the president of America. Now I will make a consolidation of all the if classes. If I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. Supposing that I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. Suppose I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. As long as I go to Chennai, I will visit the Marina Beach. So long as I don't go to Chennai, I will never visit the Marina Beach. Unless I go to Chennai, I can't visit the Marina Beach. Will you play football tomorrow? Health permitting, I will play football tomorrow. Will you go for a walk tomorrow? Weather permitting, I will go for a walk tomorrow. Will you become an IAS officer? God willing, I will become an IAS officer. இப்போ நமக்கு ஸ்கூல்ல காலேஜ்ல சொல்லி கொடுக்குற இஃப் கிளாஸ் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இது ஒன்று மட்டும்தான், ஓப்பன் கண்டிஷனல் கிளாஸ். இங்கே வந்து சிம்பிள் ப்ரெசிடென்ஸ் இருக்கணும். இஃப் ஐ கோ டு சென்னை, அங்க வந்து வில் இருக்கணும். எந்த காரணத்தை கொண்டும் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இஃப் கிளாஸ்ல வில் வரக்கூடாதுன்னு சொல்லி கொடுத்துருப்பாங்க. they impart only pieces of knowledge. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்ட்ல வில்லும் வரலாம், உட்டு வரலாம், குட்டு வரலாம். ஒரு பேங்க் மேனேஜர்கிட்ட போறீங்க, சார் I have applied for a loan. If you will sanction the loan, I will start the construction work. If you would sanction the loan, I will start the construction work. If you could sanction the loan, I will start the construction work. அப்போ what is the context? ஒருத்தர் போய் ஒரு பேங்க் மேனேஜர் சொல்றாரு, சார் I have applied for loan. If you will sanction the loan, I will construct the house. If you would sanction the loan, I will construct the house. If you could sanction the loan, I will start the construction work. அப்போ if you will, if you would, if you could, அது என்ன, what does it mean? What does it holistically mean? In the if class, a request is made. If you begin an if class with a request, அங்க will சேர்த்தலாம், would சேர்த்தலாம், could சேர்த்தலாம். So we have all along we have followed a faulty approach to developing language as communication. So far we have developed language only as knowledge. We have never developed language as communication. அப்போ ஒருத்தருடைய கம்யூனிகேஷன் ஸ்கில்லோட பிரைமரி பார்ட் என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா grammatical competency. அப்போ a man's grammatical competency determines his extent of communication skills. How far is he communicative? To what extent is he communicative? Is he a very good communicator? அப்போ one's communicative competence is determined by his grammatical competence. It is not grammar, it is grammatical competence. இது இப்போ உங்களுக்கு புரியுற மாதிரி சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா, நமக்கு இது வரைக்கும் என்ன சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்கன்னா, we have been taught only the usages of English. We have never been taught how to use English. இப்போ in the introduction I was told I worked at PhD College of Arts and Science as a professor of English for 33 years. அதை விட I had a rich experience working as domain expert for editing textbook for government of Tamilnadu. இப்போ the present matriculation state board English textbook, it has been done by me. I was the domain head for editing the textbook. But அந்த book print பண்ற நேரத்துல some politics went on in Chennai. As a result, all the material I have donated to the government of Tamil Nadu, I mean material I means learning English as communication, not learning English as grammar. They are all saved in the QR code. அந்த புக்கோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பேஜ்ல நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா 3 QR கோட் இருக்கும். அதுல நடுவுல ஒரு QR கோட் இருக்கும், அசஸ்மென்ட் இருக்கு, AWS இருக்கும். If you click that QR code, you will come across all the material I have donated to government of Tamil Nadu besides editing the first unit of the book. And the first unit it contains my material on spoken English as communication. இப்போ நம்ம எதை லேர்ன் பண்ணக்கூடாது in the name of grammar, எதை லேர்ன் பண்ணணும் in the name of grammatical competence. ஒரு அன்னைக்கு கூட ஒரு மீட்டிங்ல சொன்னேன், ஒரு வெபினார்ல சொன்னேன். I remember to have attended one of my girl students' marriage when I was working at PSGCAS. நிறைய பொண்ணுங்க PSG ஆர்ட்ஸுக்கு ஜாயின் பண்ணுவாங்க. நிறைய ஆர்ட்ஸ் காலேஜ்ல பொண்ணு ஏன் ஜாயின் பண்றாங்க, மாப்பிள்ளை சீக்கிரம் கிடைக்காது. ஸோ யூ ஹேவ் டு கண்டினியூ வித் யுவர் BA அண்ட் தென் MA, அப்புறம் MPhil, அப்புறம் மாப்பிள்ளை கிடைக்கலன்னு யூ ஹேவ் டு கண்டினியூ வித் யுவர் PhD. அப்புறம் PhD எல்லாம் முடிக்கும் போது ரொம்ப வயசாயிரும். there is no need for any marriage. அதுல ஒரு பொண்ணுக்கு when she was a student at PSG ஆர்ட்ஸ் மாப்பிள்ளை கிடைச்சிச்சு. she was to get married. she invited all of us for her marriage. நானும் ஒரு தமிழ் ப்ரொஃபஸரும் we attended the marriage together. அவரு ஒரு தமிழ் தென்றல் மாதிரி ரொம்ப பொலைட்டா பேசுவார். தமிழ் தென்றல் தான் சொல்லுவோம். அந்த தென்றல் வந்து ஒரு நாள் புயலா மாறிடுச்சு. அந்த அட் த டைம் அட் த பர்டிகுலர் மேரேஜ் சாப்பிட உட்கார்ந்தோம். எல்லாம் சாப்பிட்டு முடிச்சுட்டு கடைசியில தயிர் சாதம் வந்தது. கொஞ்சம் ஊறுகாய் முதல்லயே சர்வ் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க. ஐ வாஸ் அபவுட் டு டச் த பிக்கிள், ஊறுகாய். அது வரைக்கும் தமிழ் தென்றல் ஆண்டவர் தமிழ் புயலா மாறிட்டார். தொடாதே அப்படின்னாரு. நான் நெற்றிக்கண்ணை திறந்துடுவேன், நீ தொடாதேன்னு. சார் இதுல என்ன இருக்கு சார், என் ஊறுகாய் நான் தொடுறேன், வாட் இஸ் ராங் அப்படின்னு. தொடாதே, என்னுடைய கேள்விக்கு பதில் சொல்லிட்டு அப்ப நீ தொடு அப்படின்னாரு. என்ன சார் உங்க கேள்வி, ஊறுகாய் பேஸ் பண்ணி என்ன சார் கேள்வி கேட்க முடியும்? கேட்கிற பாரு, இதை சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி நீ இந்த கேள்விக்கு பதில் சொல்லு. இது என்னன்னா ஊறுகாய் என்ன, இது ஊறுகின்ற காயா, ஊறிட்டு இருக்கிற காயா, ஊற போற காயான்னு கேட்டார். இது ஊறுகிற காயா, ஊறிட்டு இருக்கிற காயா, ஊற போற காயான்னு நான் சொன்னேன். இது ஊறிட்டு இருந்தா என்ன, ஊற போனா என்ன, நாக்க முடிச்சா உங்களுக்கு என்ன சார்? I look at ஊறுகாய் from the utilitarian point of view, but you look at ஊறுகாய் from the grammatical point of view. Grammar, Burga is not for grammar. It is for tasting. It is for adding taste to the so-called curd rice. அப்போ கிராமர் வந்து ராவா நடத்துனாங்கன்னா never can you develop your communicative competence. ஏன்னா grammatical competence develop ஆகாது. அடுத்த ஒரு எக்ஸாம்பிள், ஒரு you are attending an அன்னதானம் வச்சுங்க. தமிழ்நாடு is known for a lot of அன்னதானம். சிலர்கள் வெஜிடேரியன் மீல் கொடுப்பான், சிலர்கள் நான் வெஜிடேரியன் மீல் கொடுப்பான். Imagine that you are attending an அன்னதானம் involving non-vegetarian foods. மட்டன் சிக்கன் எல்லாம் போடுறான், சிக்கன் பீசஸ் ஆர் பீங் சர்வ்ட். எல்லாம் என்ன பண்ணுவான், இது ஃப்ரீ ஆஃப், இட் இஸ் கிவன் டு மீ ஃப்ரீ ஆஃப் கான்னு சொல்லிட்டு 2 கையிலையும் சாப்பிட ஆரம்பிப்பான். பல கையிலையும் சாப்பிடுவான், இடது கையிலையும் சாப்பிடுவான். ஏன்னா he wants to consume more number of pieces. இப்படியே எல்லாரும் சாப்பிட்டு இருந்தாங்க. ஒரே ஒருத்தர் மட்டும் he was making an inquiry. He was not making an enquiry, he was making an inquiry. ஒரு சிக்கன் லெக் பீஸ் எடுத்து கையில வச்சுட்டு he was wondering at something. ஒருத்தன் கேட்டான் அவங்ககிட்ட, எல்லாம் சாப்பிட்டுட்டு இருக்காங்க, நீ எதுக்கு லெக் பீஸ் எடுத்து வச்சு என்னமோ எக்ஸாமின் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன்னா, இது எதுல இருந்து வந்தது, இது கோழில இருந்து வந்தது. இது இது அந்த கோழி வந்து குருடான்னு கேட்டான். அந்த கோழி இது கறி இங்க வந்திருக்குது. அந்த கோழி உயிரோடு இருக்கும்போது அது ஒரு கண்ணு குருடான்னு கேட்டான். அதுக்கு தமிழ் ஒரு பழமொழி இருக்கு, கோழி குருடா இருந்தா உனக்கு என்ன, குழம்பு ருசியா இருக்கணும். கோழி குருடா இருந்தா உனக்கு என்ன, குழம்பு ருசியா இருக்கணும். அப்போ you don't bother about accumulating knowledge of grammar. Convert that knowledge of grammar into grammatical competence. இப்போ நம்ம சாதாரணமா கிளாஸ் ரூம்ல யூஸ் பண்ற ஒரு கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன், மே கம் இன் சார். நம்ம பசங்களுக்கு 2-3 கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் வந்து they are over familiar with. அதுல கிராமர் மிஸ்டேக்கே பண்ண மாட்டான். மே கம் இன் சார்ல யாரும் கிராமர் மிஸ்டேக் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. அதே மாதிரி ஐ லவ் யூ, இந்த ஐ லவ் யூல கமிட் a grammar mistake. I love you, correct the mistakes if any அப்படின்னு கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா உலகத்துல ஒரு பையன் கூட there is an error in I love you சொல்ல மாட்டான். Love is an error, but I love you does not have any error. இப்ப இந்த 2 சென்டென்ஸ்ல we have achieved lot of fluency. இது பத்தாது. அப்ப மே கம் இன் சார் சொல்லியாச்சு. உங்க நார்மலா உங்க டீச்சர் ஆஃப் இங்கிலீஷ் அல்லது ப்ரொஃபசர் ஆஃப் இங்கிலீஷ் என்ன சொல்லணும், எஸ் சொல்லி நிறுத்திடுவாங்க. நீங்க ஃபுல் ஃபிளெஜ்டா பேசணும்னா மே கம் இன் சார்னா எஸ் யூ மே. எஸ் யூ மே அப்படின்னா you are officially granted permission to come in அர்த்தம். No you may not அப்படின்னா you are not officially permitted, you are officially prohibited from entering into the class அர்த்தம். mayங்கிறது we look at may only as an auxiliary verb and we look at might as the past tense of auxiliary verb. நமக்கெல்லாம் சொல்லியிருப்போம், willோட past tense would, mayோட past tense might. ஒரு கிளாஸ்க்குள்ள என்டர் ஆகும்போது you seek official permission to enter the class. ஒரு கலெக்டர் ஆஃபீஸ்ல உள்ள கலெக்டர் ரூம்ல உள்ள நுழைறீங்க, மே கம் இன் சார். You want to be more polite, you want to be extraordinarily polite, அப்போ you can say might I come in sir. இது எந்த புத்தகத்துல இருக்க மாதிரி எனக்கு தெரியல. புத்தகத்துல என்னன்னு கொடுத்திருப்பான், might is the past tense of may. Might is the past tense of may கொடுத்திருப்பான். அப்போ you can say may come in, and if you want to be more courteous and more polite you can say might I come in sir. இந்த may மட்டும் தனியா எடுத்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா இதுக்கு எவ்வளவு ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு பார்க்கணும். Don't look at may as an auxiliary verb. Look at may in terms of its functions. Look at may in terms of its communicative functions. May come in sir, seeking official permission. Yes you may, granting official permission. No you may not, officially prohibiting somebody. The public may not walk on the grass. The public may not walk on the grass. ஒரு இடத்துல ஒரு போர்டு போட்டுருக்கானா, you are officially prohibited அர்த்தம். Passengers may not smoke on the bus. அப்படின்னா you are officially prohibited from smoking on the bus. How many of us are familiar with these constructions? இதோட முடிஞ்சுதா? May come in sir? Yes you may, no you may not. ஒருத்தர்கிட்ட கேட்டேன், சார் நிறைய ரேடியோ டிராமால நடிச்சிருக்கீங்களே, நீங்க ஏன் இன்னும் பாப்புலர் ஆகலன்னு நான் கேட்டேன். That man has acted in ஒரு hundreds and hundreds of radio dramas. ரேடியோ டிராமால காதுல தான் கேட்க முடியும், கண்ணுல பார்க்க முடியாது. only the audio is available, video will not be available. டிவில வந்து it makes an appeal to all your senses. அப்ப ரேடியோல ஒரு டிராமா is continuously telecast, every week it is telecast continuously. அப்போ அது அந்த மாதிரி டிராமால எக்கச்சக்கமா நடிச்சிருக்கான். இவ்வளவு நாள் நடிச்சு ஏன் சார் பாப்புலர் ஆகல, how come you have not become popular கேட்டேன். அதுக்கு அவர் சொன்னாரு, எல்லா ரேடியோ டிராமாலையும் நான் ஊமை வேஷம் தான் சார் போட்டிருக்கேன். எல்லா ரேடியோ டிராமாலையும் நான் இது வரைக்கும் என்ன வேஷம் போட்டிருக்கேன், ஊமை வேஷம் தான் போட்டிருக்கேன்.
Excuse me sir. We don't know Tamil, sir. Will you please talk in English only, please? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So you have acted in a lot of radio dramas. How come you have not become popular? That man replied, it is true that I have acted in a lot of radio dramas, but I have played the role of a dumb man. I have played the role of a dumb man in all the radio dramas. However hard you may try, you cannot become popular. Try as you may, you cannot become popular. Somebody asked me, sir, I want to become an IAS officer. Can I become an IAS officer? I'm sorry, you never work hard. So, try as you may, you won't be able to become an IAS officer. However hard you may try, you won't be able to become an IAS officer. Now, look at the variations of, look at the various functions of may. May come in, sir. Yes, you may. No, you may not. Try as you may, you won't be able to become an IAS officer. Try as you may, you can't become an IAS officer. However hard you may try, you won't be able to become an IAS officer. However hard you may try, you can never become an IAS officer. Now look at yet another function of may. Imagine that you are waiting at Bardiyar University to board a bus. To your disappointment, buses are not plying on the day. Imagine you are at Bardiyar University to catch a bus to come to Gandhipuram. Buses are not plying. You have waited for a long time. Then you ask your friend, buses are not available, autos are also not available. What shall we do? First option is exhausted. You cannot travel by any bus because buses are not plying on the day. And you cannot travel by auto because autos are not available in that part of the place. Your friend can come out with a logical suggestion. We may as well go by call taxi. We may as well go by call taxi. We might as well go by call taxi. We may as well go by call taxi. We might as well go by call taxi. You want to go to Chennai by train. Tickets are not available. You tried flight tickets, they are also not available. But buses are available. Having tried for the first and the second options, you come to a logical conclusion or easy course of action. I have tried the trains, tickets are not available. I have tried flying to Chennai, again tickets are not available. I may as well go by bus to Chennai. I might as well go by bus to Chennai. I may as well go to Chennai by bus. I might as well go to Chennai by bus. May I come in, sir? Yes, you may. No, you may not. Try as you may. You can't become an IAS officer. However hard you may try, never can you become an IAS officer. I may as well go to Chennai by bus. I might as well go to Chennai by bus. Now, the last function of may. Imagine you are at a bus stand. There are so many people waiting for the bus. You want to pass, you want to come up with your logical conclusions about a lady. You want to come out with some logical conclusions about a man or a lady. You have a man standing with a pot belly. You can come to a logical conclusion. He must be a police officer. He can't be a teacher. He must be a police officer. He can't be a teacher. Nadula may irukku. Evlo age irukum? How old is he? He may be 20 years old. He may be 30 years old. When you are not certain about something, you can say he may be 20 years old. Will it rain today? The sky is not that much overcast with clouds, so it may rain. It may rain. Sorry. Results, plus 2 results have come. You want to know whether Kumar has passed the exam or not. You ask the question, do you think Kumar will have passed the exam? I don't know definitely whether he would have passed the exam or not. But he may have passed the exam. He may have passed the exam because he's an average student. He may have passed the exam. Somebody started traveling from Coimbatore to Tirupur 1 hour back. Normally, it takes 1 hour to reach Tirupur. Now it is approximately 1 hour. Do you think he has? Do you think he will have reached Tirupur by now? I don't know exactly, but 1 hour has passed by. He may have reached Tirupur. Even for May, we have all these functions. We don't know how to use each of the functions of may in communication. But we look at may only as an auxiliary verb and might as its past tense of it. The other day I visited a school. I asked a school student, when do you use the simple present tense? When do you use the simple present and the point again? Wow, he's a victim of poor approach. He has been taught English as grammar. He has never been taught English as communication. When do you use the simple present tense? I asked him a question. He replied, I use the simple present tense to fill in the blanks now. I use the simple present tense to fill in the blanks now. Look at the predicament of English language learning and English language teaching in Tamilnadu. When do you use the simple present tense? I use the simple present tense to fill in the blank for filling in the blank. The other day, I was to conduct an interview online for a particular college. They wanted me to conduct and select candidates for the post of English at a particular college. Or a candidate appeared. I asked him, use the present perfect continuous tense in a sentence. Use the present perfect continuous tense in a sentence. Using is different from knowing. That fellow knows the so-called the present perfect continuous tense. Use the present perfect continuous tense in a sentence. Sir, the present perfect continuous tense is denoted for an action which began in the past, continuing in the present, likely to continue into the future. I got angry. My dear fellow, I don't want the definition of the so-called the present perfect continuous tense. I want you to use it as communication. I just wonder whether you can use the present perfect continuous tense in a sentence of your own. He was not able to. Again, I helped him by way of asking another question. How long have you been attending this interview? How long have you been attending this interview? Sir, the present perfect tense is used in this sentence. It is used for an action began in the past, continuing now, likely to continue into the future. We are taught only the usages of English. We are not taught the uses of English. Use the medicine 3 times a day. You will be able to recover your hair. That fellow used the medicine 3 times a day. He comes back to you after a month. Sir, I have used the medicine 3 times a day after meal, but nothing has happened. Doctor Chonare, it is simply, unbelievable. This medicine is highly proven. How have you used the medicine now? I have used the medicine after meals. After meals, I used to take 1 teaspoon of this medicine. That medicine is for using on your head. It is not for drinking. It is for applying on your head. That man knows only the usage of the medicine. That man doesn't know the usage of the medicine. This is called the so-called grammatical competence. To go back to what I said in the beginning, a person's communicative competence is decided by the extent of his grammatical competence. In the very sentence constructions, the amount of sentence construction a person is familiar with, it determines his communicative competence. If I gave so far I have used the term construction, because I never want to use any technical term or grammatical term to confuse you. Then the teachers of English are the notorious people. Now, when I joined PSGCAS some 35 years back, I was to go to a class, and I was a newly appointed man. At the time, I must have been only some 22 years old or 23 years old. I looked like only a student. I was sent to a class called sociology. In those days, no professor dared to go to that class. Whenever a professor was allotted that class, he or she would say, "Sir, where a class potunga? Let me go to some other class, but not sociology." But not knowing the danger awaiting in sociology, I went to the class of sociology. Without wasting a moment's time, I just began my lecture. It was the first lecture I ever delivered at PSGCAS. My dear students, whether you like me or lumpy, I have to teach you English. And whether you like it or lump it, I have to make an announcement of name. My name, I am not Chhatrapati Shivaji, having moved the earth and heaven, finding a place on the page of history. I am Rathnasabapathi, lecture in English at PSGCAS for the same. Normally, I don't for the names of the students there, because you ask you call the donkey by any name, it gives the same kick. You call the rose by any name, it gives the same kick. Smell. I'm told in a very, very fast manner, I started speaking. The HOD of the particular department, he was looking at me through the window. But I never noticed him, but people said that he was noticing me. Yeah, why was he noticing me? He knew that I was young to the profession. I was new to the profession. And not knowing the danger awaiting me, I was at the sociology class. And on the class, a professor cannot go just wearing one pair of pants. You need to go minimum 2 pairs of pants. And at the moment you turn to write something on the blackboard, you'll be stripped off your pair of pants. And the students were so notorious, they could go to any extent. But they remain calm, composed, and sitting quietly with their hands folded at the class. Because the moment I entered the class, I write the word grammar on the blackboard. I started the class by writing the word grammar on the blackboard. It is not that I disciplined them. The word grammar disciplined them. The word grammar disciplined them. I never disciplined them. In the name of teaching grammar, we give the fear of God to the students. In the name of teaching grammar, we infuse a lot of fear. Instead of infusing confidence, we infuse fear in the minds of the students by giving all the rules and regulations governing grammar. Grammatical competence is the ability to use more number of constructions in our spoken and written English. Not simply identifying something as noun, something as verb, something as adjective, something as a preposition. Now, the second component, the first component that decides your communication skills is the so-called grammatical competence. It decides the 90% of your communicative competence. I repeat, I tell you, it decides. Communicative competence decides 90% of your communication skills. The grammatical competence. The grammatical competence decides 90-95% of your communicative competence. The remaining 10 or 5% is determined by the second factor, socio-linguistic competence. By socio-linguistic competence, what do you mean by socio-linguistic competence? Here, in the modern context, we have a lot of people, taking a lot of people for a ride. Students are taken for a ride. Teachers of English are taken for a ride. In most of the engineering colleges, the Department of English is only Cinderella. You must have read the story Cinderella. Cinderella was a beautiful princess, and her beauty was not surfaced. Once her beauty got surfaced, she was able to marry a prince. And you pity Cinderella, because Cinderella, you look at Cinderella only as a character. The very word Cinderella can be used in communication. You are not popular in spite of your knowledge of you are only a Cinderella. You are not given importance in spite of your knowledge and competence. Then you are again Cinderella. In most of the engineering colleges, the syllabus is only Cinderella, because an English department is looked at as an unwanted addition to any engineering college. But you should understand the future of the engineering college students, it is decided only by their communication skills. The future is decided by only their communicative competence. A group of people, they always visit colleges in the name of soft skills. Somebody wanted to introduce soft skills when I was heading the Department of English at PSGCAS College. Somebody wearing coat, pant, tie, everything, and he had 2 assistants, beautifully dressed girls. And I found them wearing safari. He made the principal to introduce soft skills to all the 14,000 students studying at PSGCAS of Arts and Science. And he wanted to collect 1,000 rupees from everybody. The principal was a clever lady, Dr. Sheila Ramachandran. You go to the Department of English and convince Dr. Rathnasabapathi with your syllabus. Then we will make a formal introduction. That man came to me, not knowing anything about my character. The moment he said soft skills, I asked him, define soft skills. Define soft skills using unambiguous terms. Chemistry is nothing but, teachers chemistry is nothing na edukku 3 வருஷம் நடத்துறேன். அன்னைக்கு சும்மா இன்டர்நெட்ல ப்ரௌஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தேன். ஒரு டீச்சர் ஆஃப் இங்கிலீஷ் 1 மணி நேரத்துல in an hour's time English can be learned. 1 மணி நேரத்துல நம்மளால ஆங்கிலம் கத்துக்கலாம்ப்பா. அப்புறம் எதுக்கு 32 வருஷம் have you worked as a teacher of English, getting a salary of more than 1 lakh every month, and again now getting pension of 50-70,000 every month. அப்போ a teacher of English, is it not stupid on the part of the teacher of English to advocate the students you can learn English within an hour? If English can be learned within an hour, not do we require Department of English? And English can be learned within an hour. So, a teacher of English, 32 years of service, pension is around 70,000 rupees. Don't you think we are laboring under some misconception? Don't you think that we are guiding the students in the wrong way? mastering the so-called structures that go into the making of the grammatical structure, you have to spend hours together, years together. Another example to explain what grammatical competency is. If you are at the railway station, the post office, you want to borrow a pen. People who go to post office, they never carry a pen. And the idiot will be there with a pen, with piece of pen. You just ask him, sir, if you don't mind, I would like to use your pen. If you don't mind, I would like to use your pen. What are the other variations available for seeking informal permission to do something? If you don't mind, I would like to use your pen. With your permission, I would like to use your pen. Is it all right if I use your pen? Do you mind if I use your pen? Would you mind if I used your pen? You want to seek informal permission, not formal permission. May I? Or cell phone use. Sir, if you don't mind, I would like to use your cell phone. With your permission, I would like to use your cell phone. Is it all right if I use your cell phone? Do you mind my using your cell phone? Do you mind if I use your cell phone? Would you mind if I used your cell phone? And the past tense verb. See, all these 6 constructions, they are used for making informal, seeking informal permission. And how many of us are familiar with all these forms? Look at language in terms of forms and functions. If I go to Chennai, I will visit the form. Function in a open condition class. I don't know whether I will go to Chennai, but if I go to Chennai, I will visit the. Will you get the first class? I don't know whether I will work hard. If I work hard, I will get the first class. In the first part of the construction, there is a condition involved. If the condition is fulfilled, the second part will get effected. That is grammatical competence. I can come up with any number of examples for grammatical competence. But it is for want of time, I confine myself to only a few aspects of grammatical competence. Now, the second one is socio-linguistic competence. In a very clever and cunning manner, not knowing anything about their laws beyond the socio-linguistic competence, people call it soft skills. What comes under soft skills? Once I wanted to know, what are the components that go into the making of soft skills? Now, they have included anything and everything under soft skills. Anything and everything. Just like that, they have included communication skills. One has to struggle like anything to develop his or her communication skills. Communication, just like that, they have included communication skills, interview skills. They call it overall skills, soft skills. Then life skills. They teach you humility. They teach you hospitality. My dear listeners, my dear learned professors, India introduced humility and hospitality to the whole world. India is the cradle. Hospitality was born only in India. Indians are taught hospitality in the name of soft skills. Go to any village, take a look at a small house in a village. In front of a house, you will have something called thinnai. In front of every house, there is something called thinnai. Because any passers-by can take rest. The moment you sit on the so-called thinnai, the person inside, will come to you with some water. Sir, why don't you take some water? It is a symbol of hospitality. Are we supposed to be taught so-called hospitality? They call all these skills. This man who wanted to introduce soft skills, he came to my room, he darkened my room. The moment he said soft skills, I wanted him to define, he had no definition at all. Okay, what is your syllabus like? Tell me what you are going to teach. Tell me how we are going to teach. Tell me how we are going to assess. Tell me what exactly are you going to teach? What exactly, not what vaguely. I'm going to teach tenses. Now I'll ask you, are you going to teach the simple present tense? Are you going to teach the simple present tense in the context of denoting habitual action? A teacher who says, I want to teach the simple present tense for denoting habitual action, that is the specific context. So in terms of specificity, tell me what you are going to teach. And tell me in unambiguous terms how you are going to teach. What is the methodology you are going to follow? And how we are going to test. He had no answer for all these things. He took 2 heels. And he left the place in a hurry. Soft skills. Now I tell you what is socio-linguistic competence. Socio-linguistic competence means formal English remains the same throughout the world. Formal English does not undergo any change. If we were to speak formal English in India, if we were to speak formal English in England, if we were to speak formal English in any English-speaking country, your language would be the same. Anybody's language would be the same. But formal English is not geographical. Formal English does not change according to the geography. Formal English does not undergo any change according to the country. Formal English is used in spoken and written English. Formal English is used both in spoken and written English. It does not undergo any change. It is the same. And when does some part of English change? In some places, imagine you are in England. Imagine you are in England. You want to imagine you have paid a visit to London to register your PhD under a lady. You are a student. You have gone to England, especially London, to get your PhD registered under a lady professor, a British, in English. And there's an attendant waiting in front of the room. You express the purpose for which you have come. I have come all the way from India to get my PhD registered under the madam. Can I meet the madam now? That man says, madam has just gone to London. Madam has just gone to London. Or he says, madam has just gone to Ceylon. Or madam has just gone to powder her nose. First time he says, madam has just gone to Ceylon. Then immediately you think, Ceylon is very nearer to me. Had I known this fact that she is in Ceylon, I would have very easily reached Ceylon and met her. What does the man mean by she has gone to London, she has gone to Sri Lanka, she has gone to powder her nose? In England, in some part of England, if somebody says, I would like to go to Ceylon, I would like to go to London, I would like to go to powder my nose, means she wants to go to the toilet. To ease yourself, to go to toilet, people use these three constructions only in a particular part. In some other part of the country, in informal conversation, they will have some other cliche for expressing these things. These things, they go to the making of the so-called soft skills. Somebody is dead. Somebody is dead. You can express the death of somebody in so many ways. He has kicked the bucket. Somebody committed suicide. You can say he has kicked the bucket. That means using the bucket, keeping the bucket upside down, standing on the bucket, he literally stepped into the noose and kicked the bucket. The moment he kicked the bucket, he hanged himself. About to kick the bucket. It is not used everywhere. It is used only in some part of the country. About this is called so-called soft skills. Imagine you are again in England. You are waiting for a bus at a bus stand. You have an Englishman standing by your side reading a newspaper. English people, they are lovers of loneliness. They never interact with others just like that. And they never talk to strangers. You don't know anything about English culture. And you are an Indian. So you want to talk to him like a Britisher. That man doesn't mind your presence there. He is simply reading a newspaper. But you want to know whether a particular bus goes to Charing Cross. You cannot begin a conversation abruptly. Sir, today it is sunny, isn't it? Sir, today it is sunny, isn't it? Why do you say today it is sunny? When it is sunny for you, it is sunny for everybody. When it is rainy for you, it is rainy for everybody. It is stormy, it is stormy for everybody. What is the need for speaking the redundancies? Already people notice that today is sunny. And why do you say today is sunny, isn't it? Today is sunny, isn't it? Why do you use it? It is to attract the attention of the stranger. Sir, today it is sunny, isn't it? Yes, it is. That means he is prepared for a conversation with you. I just wonder whether this bus goes to Charing Cross. You cannot ask a straight question. You can ask questions only as statements in England. They avoid straight questions. They don't like straight questions. What's your name? I just wonder what your name is. Are you Mr. Rathnasabapathi? I just wonder whether you are Mr. Rathnasabapathi. Does this bus go to Charing Cross? I just wonder whether this bus goes to Charing Cross. Today it is sunny. Isn't it? Yes, it is. Sir, I just wonder whether this bus goes to Charing Cross. Yes, it does. This is how a conversation begins in England between strangers. It changes from place to place. To learn this, you need soft skills. But soft skills do not go into the making of your communicative competence. When you are involved in interpersonal competence, the language used for interpersonal conversation changes from place to place. There are some small variations. In Tamilnadu, in Coimbatore, if somebody is dead, our ticket vaangittaarunga. He has got the ticket. For which movie, sir? You cannot ask him for which movie. He has got the ticket, he died. Go to Madurai and ask somebody, sir, is Mr. Ramasamy here? Our Malay he has topped the mountain. He has topped the mountain. You should not ask him. Which mountain has he topped, sir? Which mountain has he topped? That fellow would get angry like anything. Our Malay he is drunk. Somebody is fully drunk. Drinking is different from getting drunk. That fellow already got drunk. Can I meet Mr. Ramasamy? Our Malay that means he is fully intoxicated. For intoxication, they use some cliches in different parts differently. This is called soft skills. The last skill is strategic competence. So, grammatical competence, socio-linguistic competence, and the strategic competence. And the strategic competence, what does it mean? Strategic competence involves managing a situation when you are helpless about communication. The strategic competence involves managing a particular situation when you are helpless in terms of communication skills. I had a professor at the PSGCAS College of Arts and Science, a physics professor, extremely good at teaching physics. Extremely good at teaching physics. But he was not very good at English. One day he was to teach how magnetic power can be transferred from a magnetic bar to a piece of iron. How magnetic power can be transferred from the magnetic bar already containing magnet to a small piece of iron. He was explaining. Now here is a magnetic bar containing lot of magnet. It has magnetic power. Now here is a piece of iron. Rub it against the surface. He does not know how to use the word rub. He took a piece of iron. Do swing like this. He said, do swing like this. This piece of iron will be magnetized. He managed the situation using use swing. Do swing like this. You'll be able to. In some situations, when we cannot speak, we say, what shall he say? What shall he say? What shall he say? Most of the professors, they have the habit of using some cliches. After every second sentence, they'll ask you, have you understood? Have you understood? Can you understand? Can you understand? What shall I say? What shall I say? Of course, of course. They are all meaningless cliches. When you are not able to speak continuously, you manage the situation using certain cliches. That is strategic competence. That is called strategic competence. Imagine you are going for a ride. When you are going for a ride, you have to you have to hold the reins. And to go for a horse ride, the horse is fitted with a lot of equipments. And you need not know a name of a particular equipment. And you can simply ask people, what is this? This you are managing. What is this? You don't know. You need not name all the parts of a car. What is this you are managing? Grammatical competence, it decides 90% of your communicative skills. Socio-linguistic competence, some 5%, and strategic competence, 5%. And all these three competences, they go into the making of communicative competence. If you are not grammatically competent, what will happen to you? You cannot listen, you can only hear. Listening is different from hearing. I deliver a lecture for 1 hour. If we have the so-called grammatical competence, you will have processed every sentence I have spoken. You will have understood, you will have processed every sentence I have spoken. If you don't have grammatical competence, you may have processed only a few sentences in spoken English. The other day, I went for a talk, and after I made my lecture, and somebody wanted to propose a vote of thanks. A lot of people, they don't say a vote of thanks. They simply say vote of thanks. Vote of thanks, this is not knowledge out of habit, you must say. Yesterday, I proposed a vote of thanks. Today, I'm going to propose a vote of thanks. Who proposes? A vote of thanks. Sarita proposes a vote of thanks. So, and I completed my lecture and somebody was proposing a vote of thanks. The first sentence, I simply laughed my belly out. Somebody wrote something for her. She was under tension to speak the two sentences. I thank the chief guest for making a throat-provoking speech. I thank the chief guest for making a throat-provoking speech. It was thought-provoking. There may have been a spelling mistake. Suppose she read the thought as throat. Everybody laughed. Everybody laughed. I thank the chief guest. I thank the lecturer for making a throat-provoking speech. See, in the context of corona afflicting people, don't you think it is stupid on my part to provoke your throat? My throat is getting provoked, abdina. I am prone to corona. Apo, thought-provoking speech became throat-provoking speech. Somebody wanted to run for an election. So he was campaigning for votes. He wrote letters to people for votes. He wrote a letter to somebody. I mean, that somebody was living, a man and his wife, they were living at a home. They were living, and this man wrote a letter to the husband. Please cast your vote and your wife so that I can become an MLA. Please cast your vote and your wife so that I can become an MLA. And the receiver of the letter wondered. I have had this lady for so many years. I have never been able to become even an ordinary councillor. And with this old lady, how is he going to become an MLA? Apo, please cast your vote and your wife. Please cast your vote and that of your wife. Please cast your vote and that of your wife so that I can become an MLA. This is, of course, a grammatical competence. And you have to develop this kind of grammatical competence. And we struggle in speaking and listening because we have not mastered the structures used for spoken English. And it is easy to develop the structures used for spoken English because these structures are developed or learned by the ear. By listening to good English, we develop spoken English. Only by reading can we develop writing. And unless you speak, you cannot get a job. Unless you write, you can never get promotion. Written English has become extinct. They are as extinct as dinosaurs. Nobody is good at it. With a few exceptions, people are struggling to write. So long as you don't write, no problem arises. Somebody asked Bernard Shaw, what is writing? Bernard Shaw typically explained, typically epigrammatically defined. All writing is rewriting. All writing is rewriting. I write, I rewrite whatever I have written minimum 7 times before I allow even my wife to read. I rewrite whatever I have written minimum 7 times before I allow even my wife to read now. And the same man said, the problem with communication is that the problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. The problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. After writing something, we think that we have communicated, but we have not communicated. Or college or circle quota principle. Like throat-provoking, this was also another throat-provoking circular. The principal asked all the HODs. The principal asked all the HODs to monitor the indisciplinary activities of the students by consuming alcohol. The principal requested all the HODs to monitor the indisciplinary activities of the students by consuming alcohol. Some students are consuming alcohol. You are supposed to go and consume the alcohol. Na? In the circle it is written, you are supposed to monitor the indisciplinary activities of the students by consuming alcohol. The other day, somebody gave me Tirupati Prasadam, Palani Prasadam. I asked him, have you visited Palani? That man replied, when I was flying from Coimbatore to Chennai, I saw Palani. When I was flying from Coimbatore to Chennai, I saw Palani. So writing can defeat any of us unless we are careful. And written English structures cannot be mastered by listening. Written English structures can be mastered only by reading. And do we have the habit of reading? How many of us have the habit of going to library? How many of us have the habit of going to library? We never have the habit of going to library. If you are compelled to go to library, you just go there for fun. You go to the library and you take up Dinatandi and you read the so-called Sindhu. You read the so-called Sindhu. Somebody asked Petra herself, what is your death wish? What is your death wish? The Nobel Prize winner. What is your death wish? Do you have any death wish like? Yes, I have a death wish. After my birth, I don't know whether I will survive. But if I survive after my death, I want to continue with my reading habits. So there are some books left in my cupboard, unread. Please bury those books also along with me. And engrave these words. Here lies a bookworm. And on my grave, you just get these words engraved. Here lies a bookworm. Jawaharlal, Dr. C. N. Annadurai, one of the chief ministers of Tamilnadu, one of the best chief ministers of Tamilnadu, next to Kamaraj. He delivered a lecture on economics. It happened in a university in the USA. He delivered a lecture at a university in the USA. And after listening to his thought-provoking lecture, somebody asked, sir, do you read voraciously? Do you read avidly? Annadurai in all humility said, I don't know whether I read voraciously or not. But I can assure you of one thing. Even if you were to perish all the books on economics to ash, even if all the books on economics were perished to ash, I will be able to rewrite 90% from my memory now. Even if all the books of economics were lost, I will be able to rewrite 80% from my memory now. Without a reading habit, you cannot develop your written competence. You cannot develop your written competence. And for everything, there is time. And before I round up my speech, I would like to remind all the viewers of this video to do me a favor. It is not a favor you are doing to me, though I look at it as a favor. I have started producing a lot of video lessons on spoken and written English. And for the benefit of Tamil medium students studying at government schools and government colleges, I am getting all my spoken English and written English videos posted to my Anglophonics Institute of English YouTube.com. Please subscribe to my Anglophonics Institute of English YouTube to get benefited by my videos. Then I have already published 4 books on communication skills. It has taken almost 25 years for me to get those books prescribed. And I'm trying to get 5 of my books on communication skills published very soon. I'm working on them. And those books are The Dynamics of Communication Skills, The Mechanics of Writing, Developing Language Through Literature. So 3 books I have published, 3 books on communication skills I have already published. I intend publishing 6 more books on communication skills. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So the essence of my lecture is that don't develop your knowledge of grammar, develop your grammatical competence of grammar by mastering more number of constructions in English. By developing more number of constructions in English. There is time for everything under the sun. If I am asked to speak for 1 hour, I have to stop the speech exactly at 1 hour. What is a good speech? Somebody asked Bernard Shaw. Somebody asked Bernard Shaw, what is the definition of a good speech? What is a good speech? Bernard Shaw said, a good speech should be like an American college-going girl's dress. A good speech is like an American college-going girl's dress. It should be long enough to cover all her portions, but short enough to arouse curiosity now. A good lecture should be like an American college-going girl's dress, long enough to cover all the portions, but short enough to arouse curiosity. Thank you very much for this opportunity. If there are questions, you are most welcome.
Thank you so much, sir. It is certainly an enlightening and inspiring session. The session is now open for discussions. Participants could post their questions. Participants, you could post your questions in the chat box, or you can directly ask. You can unmute your mic and you can ask for yourself.
You can ask a question both in English or in Tamil, and in Tamil. You can ask the questions either in English or in Tamil.
Dr. Sabapathi, this is Ramasamy from CIT, retired professor. Yeah. Sabapathi, sir.
You are from?
Sir, CIT Mathematics HOD, retired, Sabapathi, sir.
Yeah, you were my classmate at Sri Ramakrishna Vishwavidyalaya.
Yeah. Congratulations for your wonderful speech, Sabapati.
Congratulations on Farla.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
We
are all mathematicians, sir. We have to learn English from you people, sir.
If a person is good at mathematics and English, he can become an IAS officer.
Yeah.
If a person is good at both mathematics and English, he can become an IAS officer. But to be good at mathematics and to be good at English, it's a rare combination.
Thank you,
Ram sir. Thank you.
I wish to ask one question, sir. How to build the vocabulary reservoir in our mind, sir?
அதாவது செவர் இல்லாம சித்திரம் வரைய முடியாது.
Yes, sir.
நீங்க கட்ட வேண்டியது முதல்ல செவரு. In terms of grammatical competence, நீங்க செவரு having constructed a wall, you can beautify the wall using any types of mechanism. அப்போ how to develop a vocabulary நீங்க கேட்டீங்க. By knowing the meaning of a word, you cannot use it in a sentence of your own. A word is like, in the beginning, a word is like an acquaintance. Acquaintance means you are standing at the bus stand, there's somebody else also standing. You don't know each other. But even then, there's a smile on your lips and again there's a smile on his lips. But you don't know each other's name, you don't know each other mutually. After 1 month, after 2 months, you know his name, he knows your name, he knows everything about you and you know everything about him, you become friends. In the beginning, a word is like an acquaintance. And if you are exposed to the same word again and again, either in spoken English or written English, you will start using that word in your spoken or written English. And to develop vocabulary, there are 4 methods. One method மட்டும் இப்ப நான் explain பண்றேன். How to develop vocabulary through stories. And there was a grocery shop and there was a man selling all grocery items. Someone came. He wanted to teach his only son the trick of the trade of the business. How to sell grocery items. He wanted to give training. So he warned his son, you should not go for anything. You should come to the shop every day and you should observe me. And after 1 month, you will have learned the trick of the trade. That fellow, he went to the shop along with his father. He started noticing what everything his father was doing. A lady came for Perungayam. A lady came and asked for Perungayam for 5 rupees. This fellow measured Perungayam very, very diligently. And after measuring the Perungayam 3 times, he parted it with her and that lady offered money. And again, he counted the money 3 or 4 times. And 1 month, the boy underwent trial. And after 1 month, father said, today you look after the shop. The boy was very eager to look after the shop. A lady came and asked for Perungayam. This fellow measured Perungayam, parted with the Perungayam and got money from her. And after giving Perungayam to her, he smelled his hands. He smelled his hand and the fingers were all, covered with the smell of Perungayam. He never wanted to waste the smell. So he ran home. Mother was about to make rasam using Perungayam. He said, Mother, don't use Perungayam today. My fingers are already smeared with the smell of Perungayam. I will wash my hand in some water. Use that water for making Perungayam. Father will come and appreciate. And father came and he reported what had happened. He expected some felicitation from his father. He never even wasted the smell. But the father gave a big blow on his cheek. You are extravagant. You are extravagant. You spend money lavishly. You have 5 fingers. All the 5 fingers are smeared with the Perungayam smell. You should have used your little finger for today's rasam. You should have spared the remaining fingers for the remaining days. Yeah. You can teach vocabulary through this. The son was extravagant. You can never learn the word extravagant. Lavish spender. That's the opposite one, miserly. Our father is a stingy fellow, mingy fellow, miserly fellow. Father is stingy, mingy, miserly. You can learn all these 3 words through the association of the story. And you can use the words, extravagant, lavish spender. He spends money like water. Through some association, vocabulary items are to be learned and they are to be used in sentences of your own. Thank you for this question.
So one more question, last question, Samal sir. See, some people are very good in writing English, but when they are asked to address in a public meeting, Their ideas go blank, sir. What is the reason?
See, you have to stand in front of a mirror. Every well-made speech is made out of rehearsal. Every well-made speech, it is made because of rehearsals. You stand in front of the mirror, you rehearse what you are going to speak 10 times or 15 times, then you will achieve the so-called fluency.
Thank you, Sabhavati.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ramsamy.
Thank you, sir. There is one more question. Ms. Brinda Lakshmi, she has asked a question, how to begin to learn grammar from basic?
There is nothing called basic, there is nothing called advanced, there is nothing called most advanced. Language learning is a matter of habit. Language learning involves developing a lot of linguistic habits. A habit knows nothing about complexity or simplicity. There is nothing like simple habit or complex habit. I will demonstrate it through an example. When somebody says thanks to you, you simply say welcome. Whereas, if some people say, you say thanks to them, they will say, think nothing of it. To say welcome and to say think nothing of it, you require only habit. If you are in the habit of saying welcome, you say welcome. If you are in the habit of saying think nothing of it, you say think nothing of it. But there is nothing like beginning. But you should learn everything with the graduated difficulty. And in the book, my book on the mechanics of communication skills, all the items are to be learned are graded: simple, compound, and complex. That means there is a graduated difficulty involved. You can just take a look at the book. You will know how to begin with it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying. And one more question is that someone is asking to give them some tips for teaching English for primary school students, primary school teachers.
Okay, for teaching English at the primary level, the teacher should serve as a model. In a primary level, the primary level is the level wherein linguistic habits are formed through the year. Again, I repeat, only at the primary education level, languages can be taught very, very easily. Languages can be taught and learned easily only at the primary level. A primary teacher of English should serve as a model in imparting spoken English through the ears of the students through repetition. Now, to make the person who has asked the question understand this problem easily, I can come out with a solution. And I spoke to Mr. Ramasamy, a very good teacher of mathematics. Normally at schools in those days, they taught mathematics through a different method. Vaipadu. Adukku pere Vaipadu. Vaipadu, lot of things are recorded in your mind through years. In chorus, when it is repeated, it gets stored. And you grow into an adult. It is already stored in your how to make informal, how to seek informal permission. If you don't mind, I would like to. With your permission, I would like to. Is it all right if I? Do you mind if I? Do you mind my ing? Would you mind if I asked? If all these constructions are stored in the mind of the students at the primary level of education through repetition, they learn English easily. Repetition is the key, but the teacher should serve as a model, both for grammar, vocabulary, and phonetics. Some people say application. They don't say application because at the primary level itself, it's taught its application. Have you got the application? Have you made an application? Some people say university. Some people say university. University is the correct pronunciation, and all forms of language, grammar, syntax, everything can be in integration, can be taken care of at the primary level, but the teacher should design the lessons in such a manner so that English is imparted easily.
Thank you, sir. And one more last question for the session. How would you approach students of different age groups as a teacher? That's the question, sir.
Okay. See, human mind has the capacity to learn more than 17 languages until the age of 12. Any human mind has the capacity to learn 17 languages without any problem until the age of 12. Once you have crossed the age of 12, Of course, some prodigies are exceptions. Once you have crossed the age of 12, whether you are 13 years old or 35 years old or 75 years old, what a child learns easily through repetition of a particular item once, you can learn the same thing by repeating it 1,000 times. Beyond the age of 13, if somebody wants to learn English, it can be learned only through repetition. You have to make your tongue get habituated to the sound involved in the constructions through repetition.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay.
So can you give me some tips for the preparation of IELTS from the scratch?
From the scratch, you have to teach him first listening and speaking.
Okay, sir.
If somebody is not at all good at English in terms of listening and speaking, you have to begin the classes with speaking and listening.
Okay.
And speaking and listening, for a man to speak, grammatical competency is required. To develop the grammatical competency, you have to teach them all these constructions. It will take so many months and sometimes even years. And once they have become good at speaking and listening, their spoken English can be converted, can be exploited for teaching writing. And a written English can be taught only through reading.
Okay, sir.
Only through reading. And for teaching written English, you have to follow a method called reformulation method.
Okay.
Reformulation method. And it is the currently used method in England and in the USA for teaching writing.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
And it cannot be explained within 5 minutes or so.
Okay, sir. I got it, sir. I totally
What's your name like?
So my name is Sneha.
Are you working as an IELTS trainer?
No, sir. I'm actually I'm a pre-final year student, sir. Mechanical. I'm preparing for. I'm BTech pre-final year student, sir.
Okay.
I'm preparing for masters.
IELTS trainer.
No, sir. Actually, I'm preparing for my masters. This is the right time I got it. No, I got some quality time to spend on my IELTS. So I was just beginning from the.
Get my number from Ramya.
Okay, sir.
And I am currently training students online in writing.
Okay, sir.
I will send the sample lesson.
Okay.
For example, if you write a paragraph, it will take only half an hour for you to write a paragraph.
Yeah.
Imagine your paragraph contains 10 sentences.
Okay, sir.
And through the method of reformulation, I will get your paragraph reformatted. When your material is reformulated, sometimes it runs to 20 pages, sometimes it runs to 35 pages.
Yeah,
because for each of the errors, I provide a remedial material.
Okay.
If Mr. Rams, I'm saying congratulations for you now. Congratulations on you. I congratulate you on making the function a grand success. And how to get that error corrected. And there are so many techniques for remedying errors. Errors are deep-seated. Errors are recurrent.
Yeah.
If you commit an error, the same error will get repeated in all the contexts. For the complete removal of an error, you have to use the error removing techniques. And you should know how to develop material for it. Maybe you get my number from him and you can talk to me over phone.
Okay, sir.
And then I will send you a sample material for reformulation.
Thank you so much, sir.
Is there any other participant who would like to ask a question? I think the session has come to a close. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening the audience. On that note, let me propose a vote of thanks. Firstly,
now you say your vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. I got it from you. Thank you. Firstly, I would like to thank the management, our chairman, KP Ramasamy sir, our chief executive, Dr. A.M. Nadarajan, and our madam principal, Dr. M. Akila, for providing the platform to conduct this event. Next, I would like to place on record my gratitude towards the research person of the day, Dr. K. Rathnasabapathi sir, the domain expert for editing textbooks in English, Government of Tamilnadu. Sir, it's indeed a pleasure to have you. As the sessions have always been thought-provoking, and this is one another session where we have learned the importance of grammatical competence, social-linguistic competence, and strategic competence. And thank you so much, sir. And we would definitely subscribe to the Anglo Institute of English, Phoenix. And I think one of our friends has shared the YouTube thing also. Thank you so much, sir. This event wouldn't have been.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. This event wouldn't have been separation of participants. I wholeheartedly thank all the participants for turning up in great number to this webinar. Finally, I thank all the professors and students of KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology for their constant and timely support. A special mention to Dr. Ramasamy sir, Professor, Head, Department of Mathematics, for participating in this webinar. Thank you, one and all. Thank you for such a wonderful participants. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.